Welcome to the Inside UMSL podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and today I'm joined with Dr. Munn Sanchez, Dean of the Honors College. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's really fun to be here.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this conversation coming up.
Thank you.
So say you're talking to me about what you do. How would you describe that for someone who is kind of outside your sphere of influence?
So I think one thing that's really interesting about the Honors College is that we work with every major. We're an undergraduate program, so I work with every undergraduate in the institution, even those who aren't in the Honors College, because we have a bunches of programs for them too. But fundamentally, we offer really interesting classes for high achieving, high aspiration, which is a phrase I kind of hate, but for students who are really interested in engaging in the Honors College, and we are able to have them fit their general education requirements, major requirements, all sorts of ways. So at the core, we just offer really cool classes.
And that's what Honors College is just really cool classes?
And that's the start.
That's the start. Okay.
That's the start. But no, we also have all sorts of other programs. We have a really strong study abroad program, internships, but fundamentally what we are is a community. I mean, the really big thing, I think, is that we are a community of faculty and students who are here to really make the academic experience of the students, but their whole UMSL experience something extra and special. So the classes are the foundation, but there's all sorts of outside the classroom stuff, some of it really fun. So we really do everything. In that sense, we're a college. We do just about anything you might think of.
What is something when people join the Honors College that they are usually surprised by?
I think the relationship with the faculty. It's very first name. It's a very, very casual place. No one calls me anything but Ed. My office is attached to the student lounge, and the students can just stick their head in and talk to the dean whenever they want.
That's cool.
That's true for everybody. I think they're surprised at that level of intimacy. We really think of them as junior colleagues. And I think the second surprise after that comes how seriously we take this, since we don't, at first glance, we don't seem to take a lot of things all that seriously. It's very light, very fun. And I think they learn after a while how really serious we are about some really key things about what we're doing in the classroom, what the college is about, how they're preparing for their careers and for their lives.
With preparing for their careers, what are some opportunities the Honors College offers that allows them to take their learning a little bit further?
I think one of the two big things are we have two internship programs that I really love. One is the Pershing Charitable Trust gives us an internship with the Pershing Fellows, 10 honor students with 10 students from 8 honors. It's going to be 10 this next year, we think.
Okay.
But it's not 10 yet. 8 honor students with 8 students from WashU, 8 students from St. Louis University, and 8 students from Harris Stowe have summer internships, $10,000 in St. Louis, working with St. Louis nonprofits.
Wow.
The goal is to keep them in St. Louis, to build this sort of cohort of other St. Louis folks. I love that internship. It's been amazing. And, working with the Pershing Charitable Trust has been amazing. They're great people. We have alumni who have given us money to run a Washington internship program in the summer. Students have room and board at the International Student House right off DuPont Circle.
Wow.
We help them find summer internships in DC. We have some folks who offer internships for our students if they're in the right area, or particularly in cybersecurity and things like that. And then we are able to mostly fund their summer there. I mean, if it's not a paid internship, it can cost them a little money. But if they have a paid internship, then they have a fully funded summer internship.
Wow.
Love those programs. We do a lot of more one-off internships. We have our own study abroad courses where Audrey is taking people to London this summer. So there's a lot of other things that we do, but those internship programs are dear to my heart.
What unique opportunities do you offer for honor students at UMSL?
I think one of the most exciting ones is we have an Opportunity Scholars Program and then a sister program called the St. Louis Scholars. Okay. This is actually a scholarship for first-generation students, preference for first-generation students. You don't even have to be a first-generation student. It's a preference for first-gen, a preference for STEM, but really available to anyone. And it pays room, board, tuition, fees, laptop. So this is not quite a full ride because there's some incidentals it might not cover, but pretty much for all practical purposes, a full ride scholarship to UMSL 5 students every year. And then if you are interviewed for it, so we will bring 25 students to interview. If you interview for it, and you don't get it, so the 20 students who don't receive it are St. Louis scholars, and they receive an $8,000 scholarship.
Wow.
And we also have both a mentor in the Honors College for the St. Louis scholars and a mentor for the Opportunity scholars. There's all sorts of sort of extra support in addition to everything we're already doing in the Honors College and everything that UMSL already does, which are significant in both cases. So it is really, really an exciting program and a great opportunity. And that's by application. It's a little bit more elaborate. They have to come here to interview. There's an application process after they apply to UMSL. But it is I love that program. It's a super exciting program, and it's a really amazing opportunity for the students who get the chance to participate.
That's super cool. Yeah. Now, just from this brief conversation we're having so far, it sounds like you are very efficient at leading the Honors College. So what are some characteristics of a strong leader that you would say?
I think I'm always hesitant. First, I'm a philosophy professor, so I can get really carried away here. But secondly, I'm always really hesitant because I think different situations call for different kinds of leadership.
Okay.
I think for an honors college, it's really about being very much a part of a collaborative team. I mean, I think part of it is, I played sports. I like the coaching metaphor for a lot of things, but this is really like coaching a really talented team. You just, make it easy for people to do what they're already really good at. So you're just making it possible for a tremendous faculty and really strong students to, to have very little obstacles to their success. I think that's part of leadership. The other part is, really taking advantage of this very talented faculty and staff I have to sort of come to some consensus or some strong ideas about what are our next programs, how do we move our students forward. One of the advantages that I have is that honors is an undergraduate-only program.
Okay.
I'm not, Andrew, having to have research and graduate students. I mean, other deans have a less focused portfolio because they've got so much to do. We're an undergraduate program. We are there for undergraduate education. That is all we do. So we have a very tight focus, which makes leading some ways easier because I don't have to set the big agenda. That's already been set. And so then it becomes, all right, what's best for the undergraduates? How do we create a great program? And how do I really, leadership in this case is really allowing, finding talent. And I have the good fortune to have a great staff and great faculty and then allowing them the space to do the things they want to do, finding them the resources.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, finding resources in a resource scarce environment, building partnerships with other units where we can work on stuff together. That's really what I'm trying to do, I think. And in the context of where I am in an honors college, I do think that's what strong leadership is.
Now, you said removing obstacles. What does that look like in a day-to-day?
Oh, it can mean anything from helping people find space to have an event, but mostly it means finding funding.
Okay.
I mean, to a large degree, when we're doing something with anything we're doing, cost money, time, and finding funding and resources is a big thing. One of the big issues that we have to concern ourselves with, that I have to concern myself with. The other is encouraging people to think bigger than they often do. We do a lot of that. We've had the Ariana String Quartet just played a concert just for us.
Wow.
It was great. 50 students around them. They talked about their music. They're amazing. Our students, many hadn't heard them before. They had this incredible experience of having a world-class string quartet just basically show up in their room, play for them, and explain the music. Part of it is, we have relationships with our Ariana. 2 of them teach for us. So that's the kind of what I mean by finding resources.
Okay.
Some of it is money. Some of it is just going ahead and trying something that might or might not work.
So then what would you say are some of the descriptive qualities that make a strong leader?
I think some of it is really, pretty straightforward. I think you want to be as transparent as possible. I mean, you want to communicate effectively. I think in this case, you want to both have a direction you want to take your organization, but you also have to be really open to the organization moving in a different way. I mean, I think in that sense, a leader in an honors college isn't necessarily setting direction, but maybe discovering direction rather than setting it. So what the group thinks where we might go next, what we might do next. So I think being aware of your the strengths of the people that you're working with is a big part of it. And I do think the coaching metaphor, at least for this, really makes sense. I mean, I'm not playing. I don't score the goal. I was soccer.
Yeah.
I don't score the goals. Once the players are on the field, they're the talent. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who are really going to make this work. My job is to get people in good positions where they can be successful, but also to recognize that in the end, I'm not the one doing the real work. It's being done by my faculty and by other folks.
And you've spoken a lot about working in collaboration as part of a team. And sometimes when you're working with a team, there's multiple right answers, multiple directions that you can go that would be correct. How do you navigate making those complex decisions between multiple right answers?
There's usually efficiency and practicality. I mean, if you have some good opportunities, then you make a judgment about which is this sounds terrible, but which is the easiest one to achieve and do that one first. Yeah. I mean, if you have lots of ways you might go and they're all from your judgment and from the judgment of the team equally effective, then which one's more practical, which one costs the least resources? I mean, I think there's always a really strong practical element to leadership. Can you stage them? Can you, if you do one, does that make doing another one easier? Yeah. So a lot of it that's a really hard question to answer without actually knowing the details of what we're talking about, because that's going to determine what's more practical, what's more efficient.
So would you say a key quality of leadership then is being able to make snap decisions in the moment?
That's a hard question.
Okay.
So that is a quality of leadership.
Okay.
I think being able to make decisions is obviously essential. I'm not sure snap decision. I mean, I guess the snap decision puts me off of it. Yes, there are contexts where there might be an emergency, something that goes on that you need to make a quick decision. This is maybe going to sound different, but I've often found that when a quick decision needs to be made, when there's an emergency, the right answer isn't really that difficult.
Yeah.
It might be difficult to do, but during COVID, it was really, really hard to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But knowing what to do wasn't all that hard. I mean, it was pretty obvious that we weren't going to be able to meet in person and that we wanted to have classes. So we needed to move the entire college to online so that our students could have classes. Yeah. That wasn't difficult. Actually doing it was really difficult.
Yeah.
But the decision itself kind of made itself. I mean, the example, an earthquake or something, what you need to do is not always all that tricky.
Yeah.
So I do think actually leadership is, in that sense, is more about making more difficult decisions that require a little bit more deliberation and building consensus to make those decisions effective.
Now, a lot of what you do is working with the next generation, being here at a college. What are some leadership qualities that you would say differentiate someone who is going to make an impact later on as to someone who might not make as much of an impact? Is there a difference between how they can approach leadership?
Let me say, I hate to hesitate in a podcast.
No, you're good. You're
good.
But
that's a difficult question. I think what we try and get our students to the point where they are comfortable with their own skill set. Mm-hmm. I think you begin by having them. We do a lot of reflective work. Yeah. Our students get sick of reflections. Everything's a reflection. There's always a reflection, but it's really about getting them to the point where there's as self-aware as possible, strengths of where they work well. One, I think of the ironies is often for many of us, our greatest strength and our greatest weakness can be the same thing. And it's just the same thing in a different context. So getting our students really aware of what those are and how they're effective, I think that's a big part of getting them ready for leadership. Putting them in positions where they actually lead.
Yeah.
We have lots of organizations. We do lots of things with our students. And a lot of it is just, letting them see what leadership is like, dealing with personality issues, dealing with differences of opinion. I think that's it. I think
Yeah.
it's really difficult to teach leadership.
Yeah. So where did you get a lot of your influence for your leadership style?
I've had the good fortune of getting into honors because a very close friend of mine became the dean of the Honors College of South Carolina, and I encouraged him. And what I thought was a joke, he said, "All right, if I do this, then you're going to come over and work with me." And I thought, "Haha, great, yeah, sure." And he wasn't kidding. And next year, he offered me to come over. And I had the good fortune. This is a guy named Davis Baird, who was a dean at South Carolina and then was a provost at Clark in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And just, I think, is an exceptional leader. And then my dad, which is such a corny answer, but my dad was in the Air Force, then worked with the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, and was, led large organizations.
Yeah.
And this was a discussion in the house. So it was, he's been a big influence, him and my mom both in different ways. So
That's awesome.
it's like I said, I've had the good fortune of parents that have been really important to me. So
Yeah, I love that. So what are some ways that you continue to cultivate your skills in leadership now?
I think the trickiest thing, and what I wasn't expecting, and what I would tell anyone in going into leadership of this type, is that the hardest thing is dealing with personalities, HR. I think that's where I'm trying to develop and have been cultivating sort of to the degree that I can, my awareness of how difficult issues around individuals' personalities, their expectations about work, their productivity and effectiveness, whether they're working well with the organization and they're connected to organizational goals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really the HR stuff. That's where I found there's real tension, because there are these, you've got real people in front of you who are living real lives, and those things mesh or don't mesh with things you're trying to do. And often even when they don't mesh, it's often for really legitimate reasons.
Yeah.
It's not, they're not terrible human beings or anything like that. There are these real struggles. So that's what I found most difficult, and what I'm trying to develop and really figure out is, how are you an effective leader in those kinds of contexts where, things aren't going well.
Yeah.
And I don't have a great answer to that. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's just a really difficult space.
Yeah. Are there any books or podcasts or anything that you look to kind of help you grow a little more on that?
Yes, but they're just really exactly what you would expect from a philosopher. I mean, I think The Republic is a really good way to talk about. I mean, I think for the many ways that Plato has issues, he's really good about talking about leadership and what it is. And I don't intend to be a philosopher king, but a lot of the things he says are really important. Aristotle's Politics is really good. I actually like Machiavelli. I can do a long discussion of what's right and wrong with him, but the way that he sees leadership as a pragmatic exercise. So I tend to go to like these, less the stuff you might find in an airport and more the kind of stuff you find in
Etched
a
in
philosophy
stone
department.
Yeah. I like that. That's really unique. So what do you love most about being a part of the UMSL and St. Louis communities?
Oh, that's a long one. I love UMSL's mission. I mean, I bought in from the moment I came here. The transforming lives. I mean, it is so easy to think about that. It's so easy for anyone to say. I'm sure many people talk about we transform lives, but I'm just all in on that. Have been from the beginning. I think that's one of the most important roles an institution can play. So I really like that mission. I really like the way we try and be connected to our community, how we're trying to be connected to North County and North City. I'm all in on that. It's just something I believe in, think it's really effective, and can really make a huge difference. So I think that's part of it. I love our students, particularly because there are students for whom a university education can really make a huge difference.
Wow.
And I think they bring something that many other students don't. I think given the really varied background of our students, I think they are bringing something to the workplace. But for me, even more importantly, as citizens, as future leaders, they're bringing something that's going to be really difficult for us to get, even as a country. I mean, I'm very idealistic. I think this is really essential for the well-being of all of us, that we take the folks that we work with and put them in positions where they can really have access to real power and be part of the decision-making folks in the nation. So like I said, I'm pretty all in there. And I love St. Louis. I mean, it's just, there are a million problems and there's lots of things you would change and everything, but it's a really vibrant city. It has all sorts of free stuff to do. I love the art museums. It has theater. It has a really strong arts community, which I think is really undervalued. Yeah. I've seen really good theater, really great shows. I love music, and the music scene here is really good, particularly since I like all sorts of music, but I like blues. I like so it's really, there's just a lot to do here, and good restaurants. We just had. I live in Maplewood. A restaurant opened down the street. God, I wish I could remember. Robin.
Yeah.
And we were going to go, and we didn't get around to it. And it just got named to the top 50 restaurants in the country by the New York Times. And we're like, oh, we got to get a reservation. And now we can't. But, that doesn't happen everywhere, where your neighborhood restaurant is all of a sudden in the New York Times. So those kinds of things makes St. Louis really fun. And I like the Midwest. I was born in Madrid. I'm Spanish, but my wife's from Iowa. I've spent most of my time in the Midwest, and I just feel like a Midwesterner. I sort of get it here. Oceans. I love oceans, but this is very comfortable for me.
I like that. My last question is: you have a free weekend in St. Louis. What would you do? Friday night to Sunday night.
Is it soccer season?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, then I'm going to be at the match for sure. I'll be at whatever else I'm doing. I will be at the match on Saturday night if they're playing at home.
So you have season tickets?
No, I don't, but I go a lot.
Okay.
So if you wait till right before the match and go on, you can often get a very good deal on tickets. So no, I don't, but I go pretty often. I would definitely go to watch St. Louis FC play.
Wow.
And then, I think it depends. We just went to the Johnson Shut-ins on Monday.
Okay.
Gorgeous, spectacular. Don't ever go on a weekend, but if you can go on a weekday, they are just unbelievable. The natural areas around St. Louis are really cool. Forest Park, everyone does it, but on a nice day, picnicking in front of the museum on the lawn, really nice. My wife and I get banh mi. We love, get the sandwiches and bring them out there and hang out in front of the lawn. The Muni. I love to go bike riding. That's what I do for fitness, more or less. So there's Grant's Trail. There's so many great trails. Yeah, I could write a whole sort of St. Louis blog on things to do.
It seems like you really love it here.
I really do. I really enjoy it here. I'm from Madrid. It's a big city. It's a beautiful city. Yeah. I have to say, St. Louis. The only thing I would change is if they could just shift, so started like later and close later. I'm still getting used to doing things from 5 to 11 as opposed to from like 9 to 3.
Yes.
but the same things are being done. It's just on a different schedule.
I get that. Well, thank you so much. This has been a really great conversation.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure. I really enjoyed this. This is a blast.
Good.